I love working down here for that reason. Just because it really is like a giant family down here. Very dysfunctional giant family, but huge and amazing. And we got each other's backs.
Well, at least we're a good time.
Yeah, and it's so much fun.
Every other city that has done this has been a top down, where you would have the local government going, hey, this is an initiative we want to do.
All right, so tell me a little bit about where we're at, the history of the building.
So the James was named the James because we have a little roadway here, this little alleyway where the fountain is. It's James Reed Lane. So that's where the name the James came from. Our owners, they worked so well together, they decided to kind of come together and create something a little different, a nice little speakeasy style drinkery. That was the goal. I think we're doing a good job on the speakeasy thing because we do get a lot that it's hard to find us.
Do you think that that's what makes this bar unique compared to other bars in the area?
I think what really makes us unique though is we're not pounding out just karaoke and bands and having to have something to draw you in. People come in because they like our vibe. They like our bartenders. They like our cocktails. We take a lot of extra time on the cocktails. Everything's made from scratch. Just about every single thing that we have here is made from scratch. If it's not already pre-bottled, and it's displayed what we have. And that kind of stemmed from my allergies.
Tell me a little bit about what you do here.
I have been creating the menus since I got here. I make all the syrups, the shrubs, and do all of the liquor ordering, which has been a little fun recently.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the tariff thing was a little bit of an issue recently. I don't think people realize how much tariffs affect the little people in this industry. We have a lot of most bars now because everybody's kind of getting into that high-end cocktail experience or like classic cocktails. And a lot of those classic cocktails have liqueurs that are from France and Italy and other parts of Europe. With those tariffs, if they decide not to send us any more because the tariffs are too high, we won't get any more of them. So Saint Germain, Amaros, all of the Amaros, which my favorite is the Amaro Verna, which is what I had a big problem with because that's what I use in my espresso martinis, and the girlies love espresso martinis. So we have to keep that in stock. And then of course, like green chartreuse, that's another one. Have never been able to get my hands on a yellow chartreuse, still trying. But we've kind of had to rearrange some of the things that we're doing here and kind of start pulling in US distilleries only to make sure that we keep different things in stock. The only thing that I can't keep in stock, of course, are the things that come from Europe. And those are the most sought after, you know, like limoncello. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but that's like another really popular one. Aperol. Aperol spritzes, we're in the season. We're in the season, girl. Yeah, so if we don't have US alternatives to that with distilleries here having extra tax write-offs or, you know, some kind of incentive for them to create those products for us, we just don't have them anymore if they decide to not send them.
How do you get the liquor from Europe here? Like, what is that process?
So that is actually on our ABC board. Okay. So our main distributor is out of Raleigh. So Raleigh is like the dictator for what is going to get sent here.
And now we are actually joined by Tyler. So Tyler, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do downtown.
Well, right now I own Baxter's 1892, which is a restaurant and bar right there on Pollock Street. So we're neighbors here with the James. And we've been
the best neighbors.
The best neighbors. And
the
we've been
best
open
neighbors.
For 3 years now, probably 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, so here you are sitting in the James, and so this does seem like you guys do have this nice neighborly love. Tell me about how that's important with the community.
Well, we borrowed ice from Baxter's for like 6 months when our ice machine broke. So we're definitely the neighbors you can borrow a cup of sugar, but that's kind of like the downtown relationship between businesses for sure. Yeah. And I feel like we absolutely need to foster that.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We don't compete with each other, you know what I mean?
No.
When we're full, we send people over here and vice versa. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, more people beget more people.
Perfect. Tell me about how the tariffs have impacted you both.
Well, we both use the same Amaro in our martinis. It's the best way to go. But did you guys have any that where you were kind of like, oh, by the way, this is on a discontinued list. That's what I was told.
I want to say Edwin did.
But, like,
find a couple things
temporarily.
that were- yeah, it was just unknown.
Yeah.
You know, because part of the problem is that the NC ABC system, you know, they buy everything in bulk. They leave it in a warehouse in Raleigh, and you know, they buy it whenever they, I guess, maybe they feel like it, or maybe there's like a wizard with a magical ball that tells them when to order things. I'm not really sure. how they
We
do
don't
it.
know. We
Yeah, it
really don't
really
know what
is
the
like-
process is.
Nobody knows really what the process
It's like
is.
forbidden
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, it's one of those where like,
Yeah.
we can't tell you, but it's there, and if you're nice, we'll give you some.
So mystical and mysterious.
So I think a lot of it too is that probably, as a state importer, you know, they have to go through other hurdles as opposed to a private buyer trying to bring them in. So
Mhm.
they probably were trying to negotiate that while, you know, figuring out what's going on with the tariffs. But I did see, I think it was like 70 countries or something have agreed to like go down to zero tariffs. So it's like a little bit of a roller coaster.
We're in a turning point now,
Yeah.
thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did get my liqueurs that I was kind of throwing a fit about like a few weeks ago. But it took like 3 weeks for me to actually get them. So
How are your drinks affected by this?
well, we've started transitioning from your normal vodkas and gins and things that you're used to seeing on the shelf that are not from the US. We've been transitioning them to North Carolina, hopefully North Carolina distilleries, or at least US distilleries all the way around. So if I can find liqueurs that work with that, we'll see. But we are definitely transitioning to not using so many outside of this country liquors.
I think a lot of us are starting to do that as well. We're trying to do stuff
Yeah.
more local and in-state. I think the tariffs have just accelerated our process of doing it.
Definitely.
You know, because at the end of it, like a lot of things we can buy within the country, but there are a few, like I said, liqueurs and stuff that just are not made here. You know, and
Yeah.
so they hold those recipes really tight as opposed to how they're made. You know, not saying that someone couldn't come and figure it out, but it would be a long time before that ever came to fruition. So I mean, it does change a lot of cocktails because I mean, it's like changing the tires on your car. If you put on the wrong size, it's going to drive different. You know, so.
But if you're a good mixologist, you can figure it out and make it taste the same. So, which is what we're good at that part. So that's the part that we'll figure it out. If there's one thing I know about myself, like I'm gonna figure it out. I'm always very determined, especially if it's a problem. I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out because I want to fix it. So.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how it works. You know, you have people like her that can, like, said, you just here's the pile, make this work. You know,
And we
I'm on-
do.
Yeah, and I'm on the other side of like
We
I'll
do.
figure out how to get you the pile of stuff. You know?
And he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good because I'm kind of like the one that's like, hey, oh, big mess. Let me fix it. And then it's like a Rubik's Cube in bartending. That's, oh my God. Every time I tuck my hair, I yank this earring out. No, I did this like 4 times the other night and I'm like,
We're
I'm
gonna
kind of
fight.
determined I might not ever wear these earrings
It's
again.
getting serious. She's taking her earrings out. Oh, watch out.
I am the one that would do that too. So yeah.
Now, have you changed your drink menus recently?
We did for the spring.
But just for the spring, not because of the tariffs.
No, I actually changed to our spring menu prior to knowing about the tariffs, but I didn't have as many foreign liqueurs in the menu this year, just because I was trying to stick to North Carolina distilleries, or at least US distilleries only, just to really kind of showcase us as a whole and all the things that we're doing versus things that don't really come from here, because you know, supporting business locally as much as possible.
How do you decide on the North Carolina or the US-owned distilleries?
Generally, they reach out to us and we do a tasting with them. We'll taste through all of their products and decide the ones that we like. Me personally, I sit there with their whole menu of liqueurs that we're trying or liquors that we're trying, and I will make marks by the ones that I like or the ones that I think will do well with certain cocktails. And then I will start the ordering process. Many times the codes that they give us to order them, because every spirit here has a code. And if the code isn't right, which 9 times out of 10 for North Carolina distilleries, it's never right. And it's a whole chase your tail process to try to figure out what the actual code is or how they have it listed in the system, because they'll have a different code for when it's discounted for a month. Or if they are trying to push something for a specific amount of time, they'll have a different code for that. and which is the one thing that I've found.
And, no,
That's the part that irritates me the most. That's what I've been having a problem with on that grapefruit vodka.
To tag on with that, a lot of us, sometimes purposely, sometimes just inadvertently, we end up buying a lot of the same stuff. Like one of the popular ones we love is Weldon Mills out of Roanoke. It's fantastic. But
it is fantastic.
The problem with like the ABC is that they are only going to supply the store with things that people are buying in mass. And so, if we have some random distillery that's, out in the middle of nowhere that we get one bottle from, the ABC is normally not going to stock it for us. But if we all collectively come together and do it, then now we can get our hands on some of the stuff. But that's part of the reason why it's such a pain, because,
it really is we have to kumbaya together every time to get it done.
Let's go and talk about that kumbaya.
So we are totally doing that right now. He and I are kind of in a collective, unofficial board of businesses in downtown New Bern that are kind of piecing ourselves together to promote a sip and stroll here, to kind of keep up with the times, because we have over 70 counties that are currently participating in a social district, which we're kind of shying away from the social district aspect and trying to make it more about all of the business down here and not just the bars.
Exactly. We're trying to call it like a hospitality area. It got in a bad rap because I think people thought that, if we let people do a sip and stroll, whatever you want to call it, that's going to turn into Bourbon Street down here. Like, anyway, it's not.
We don't want that.
Like,
we don't want that.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want that.
It won't even come close to anything.
We don't want the smell mostly.
And like I said, I think now it's like closer to 80. I just left the tourism meeting this morning. It's closer to, I think, 80 cities that have this now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest benefits of it is that it doesn't really help our bottom line. A lot of people don't realize we've been able to do to-go drinks for almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
To-go drinks take home that you legally can't, like the law is still, public consumption are the same.
And there are no real regulations with the to-go thing.
Yeah.
So
it's so like literally we can give you a to-go drink and walk out the door. We've been doing it for a year. It's not really affected our bottom line. However, if you look at all these other districts that have been doing it, not in North Carolina, you look at like other states, is that you will see that there's increased foot traffic and that it helps the retail stores more than it ever will help us, because people downtown go shop and do something else. Was like right now, like Little Washington has one, and Little Washington is about 1/3 the size of New Bern, and they are getting almost the same amount of tourism dollars per like business than we are. So you think like, okay, well, what's the difference? And the biggest difference is that in Little Washington, they have a local government and a mayor and a city manager that are willing to help businesses and grow. Whereas New Bern, we're getting a lot of pushback from those people. Because like right now, part of the reason why we're all collectively trying to do this is because every other city that has done this has been a top down, where you would have the local government going, hey, this is an initiative that we want to do. They would get public buy-in. And for some reason in New Bern, they want to do the exact opposite. And really what it is a tactic for them not to have to deal with it. And we hear it all the time of people going, oh, there's no one for this. I'm like, we have a petition of like 700 residents and retailers
in this district.
And so what's happening is that the city government and those officials are getting a lot of misinformation about this because it's an election year and they want to be elected. But right now they're not serving what we're trying to do here, because again, it's that.
And the majority of the population that spends their dollars in this specific district. So.
Yeah, and I think it's so funny to me because again, it's in 80 other cities. So like, why is New Bern any different? And again, I think a lot of people feel like we as businesses are competing with each other. We're not. We actually collaborate with each other on a daily basis.
I mean, clearly you jumped in on the
We
interview.
absolutely do. I mean, it was like a 2-minute phone call. Hey, hi, I need you. And but that's how it is down here. I mean, I could go to Harry's and get a can opened if I need it, because I don't have a giant big can opener for our huge cans that we get ordered. I've had to go to Poppy's to borrow honey mustard because a DoorDash didn't work out, and I was able to go borrow dressing for my bartender so that he had sauce for his chicken tenders. You know what I mean? It's so simple, but it really is so neighborly down here.
But also brings the point of like ice. You can't run a bar without the basics of ice. You know, but like I said,
Which,
for me,
thank
it's
you.
not- It's like, but, you know, and we don't go back like, you owe us for this. I'm like, no, we'll pay it forward, or we'll need it eventually. You know,
Yeah.
it's like there's never been a point where we go, hey, we need this back or whatever. Just it'll be fine. You know?
It really is.
Yeah.
And anytime they need something, we've got it. It's vice versa. It really does all wash out, and we all pat each other's backs, and it's a beautiful thing. It's something that I absolutely love being a part of. Like, this is my favorite part of working downtown here. And I've worked in a lot of different industries. I love working down here for that reason. Just because it really is like a giant family down here. Very dysfunctional giant family, but huge and amazing. And we got each other's
Well, at
backs.
least we're a good time.
Yeah, and it's so much fun.
So if you could add or enhance anything to downtown besides the sip and stroll, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I know one thing that we had talked about was having a sound system, downtown live sound system. We can play music, we have announcements, and not only that, so we could actually design it. A friend of mine actually came and we did the specs on it, that you could actually design these things where you can only hear it when you're on the sidewalk. So even if you're on the street or the distance, you would never hear them. Like,
And this is coming from a sound guy.
and like this is. You know, but it'd be cool. The other thing too is like parades and stuff, or like the Very Merry events, or like Mum Fest. Is that we could actually have downtown announcements for whenever we have 100,000 people down here. Hey, make sure you go check out this. These are the events that are happening now. You know, when the parades go by, we could actually have music coordinated to the parade as it goes down the street. You know, and stuff like that. I mean, it would be, you know,
And especially for New Year's.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they closed the streets. I mean, we've closed the streets for COVID. The service industry survived because they closed the streets for us. I wasn't working in the service industry at the time, but something about it made me want to. I have no idea why. I was like, I want in. I want back in the service industry for this reason right here. Just because we don't have outdoor dining.
Yeah.
We can't sit on our gorgeous waterfront because we're not allowed to buy up the property on the waterfront to open more bars and restaurants. We've got what, one,
Yeah, one.
two?
I
If
think,
that?
I think Persimmons was actually the last building that was certified to build on top of the water in North Carolina.
Wow.
That was the last one was actually legally being able to build.
But something like Moorhead, I mean, look at Moorhead's downtown. It flourishes, especially throughout the summer months. But even their Sundays are jam-packed busy.
Oh yeah.
Because people want to sit on the waterfront. They want to enjoy their drink. They want to enjoy their food. They want to go and shop around in between that.
People are looking for experiences different than what they can get on like just the regular street. They want something that's like, I want to get out of my house and do stuff, you know? So, I mean, now that we have everything delivered to us, there's really no reason to ever leave the house if you don't really want to. So I think when people leave, they want an experience that is just unlike what they can get on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
You know?
And to touch on the convenience thing, I think it would be a good idea for the city to invest in we already have the golf carts that cart people around with the Triumph Palace and things like that, and the History Center, which amazing, love that. But you could totally do the same thing and have parking that's kind of not so close, and then cart people and just have carts running all the time during this stroll. That way people feel good about parking somewhere and know that they have a way to get back without having to walk too far, because we know that nobody likes to walk too far whenever they have to get back to their vehicle. But that's like another thing, and one that's creating jobs, which therein is creating more tax dollars for the city, which therein is creating more tourism and more people influxing down here. Important.
And it goes back to the point I was saying, is that all of the business and the commercial property owners down here pay an extra tax called the MSD tax, the Main Street Municipal Service District tax. And essentially what that is that it's above your regular property tax, everything else, and only the people in this district pay it. But it goes towards things just for downtown that the city otherwise wouldn't pay for. So, you know, if they wanted to do like new awnings or new flower pots or whatever, beautification of downtown is what it's for. And right now they're sitting on almost $2 million. We have the money to do these projects, but again, we don't have the leadership in place to lead us to do it. So there is grassroots effort, but we have to have people that are in charge to be like, yes, we can.
And the majority of the people doing the grassroots efforts are totally for it, as long as we have a good community of people that are willing to, one, keep the streets clean and safe, because that was the biggest issue that I keep running into, is that people think that we're going to have trash and urine everywhere. That's not going to happen.
No.
It's just not going to happen because they could get
It's
drunk
not
and do the same
happening.
thing at 2:00 in the morning. It's the same thing.
It's not happening in any other city. Like, and that's it. It's like, it's not like.
Or like the crime rates going up. And
it's not happening.
but if they're entering into this vicinity that we're kind of closing off for this, why not have a police officer that just wants somebody down really quickly to make sure that there are no weapons that we have to worry about, or, making sure that there's additional trash cans all over to make sure that trash is getting thrown away properly. Businesses, of course, making sure that their little section of the sidewalk is clean and,
And we do that now.
we already do that,
There's
yeah.
police downtown on busier nights already. The police department is literally a block from here. And I mean, part of the reason why we don't have police on every corner down here is because the crime rate in downtown is practically zero.
And it's basically a
Yeah.
ghost town after 10 o'clock anyway, most of the time, especially on weeknights. It's not busy enough for that, but yeah, definitely having this just for like Friday after 5 o'clock, the same way it was during COVID, and having all weekend long, especially on Sundays, because people like Sundays. They want to walk around, they want to do things. And Sundays, businesses close early, but this might be a reason for them to want to stay open later because there's more people. So that's my biggest takeaway from all of it.
There was one map that was proposed years ago that included all of downtown and also went down Pollock Street towards Freshwater and all that. That map does not exist anymore. That is no longer being considered, that no longer exists.
It's a clean slate.
Yeah, we're talking about something that is much smaller, and I'm talking 2 blocks right in downtown. There's no residential areas in it whatsoever. That I can tell you for a fact.
Yeah, it's
But
like
the
our little
times,
Bermuda Triangle kind of situation. It's nowhere near, yeah.
It won't go into any historic homes. It won't go into any of that. It would stay right down in this business district. It was within a 2-block radius. Now, in terms of dates, times, and whatnot,
Not affecting the parking
Yeah.
either. That wouldn't
Yeah.
be even a question. That's a big one
Yeah.
because that's what people get so angry
exactly.
about.
But we're not going to talk about the dates, times because it's not been proposed. But
Yeah.
I would tell you it would be a much smaller print, and it won't be 24/7.
No, absolutely
I
not.
can guarantee you that.
And it's not even like that in the other districts either. So, I mean, I think down in Little Washington, they have it Thursday after 5 o'clock, which is after other businesses down here would close that have no reason to stay open past 5. And then Fridays, again, after, I think they do it a little bit earlier at like 4:30. I have to be corrected if I'm wrong there. But then it cuts off at a certain point too. And then it goes through the weekend. But
It'll probably be somewhere.
their streets are clean. They were very clean. I walked them. I mean, we walked all over the whole district where it's cut off. Amazing, immaculate, everything clean. It was beautiful. I mean, plenty of trash cans everywhere, plenty of seating everywhere, outside to sit. It was nice. I think we could do the same thing here, but probably do it a lot better because we actually have people here.
So, how do festivals like MomFest affect your businesses?
Well, before, when they had the awnings right up against the businesses, and if nobody was going behind them, one, you'd have to wrestle with all the power cords everywhere.
It was designed to be
To shut them down for the whole weekend.
The funny part is that it really actually was sold to help businesses bring people downtown, and then they're putting the tents. But that hasn't been that way for a few years now.
Thankfully, COVID
they-
kind of helped us do the middle of the street
they
instead.
got a lot wiser. Like, we probably shouldn't block the front door with people's
Yes.
tents. That
So
was-
it is amazing since COVID. Amazing the way that they've set it up.
Oh yeah.
It's so much better.
Setup is great. Like I said, there's about 100,000 people, I think, that come in for MumFest for those days. And we are slammed, for those 2.5 days that it goes on. It's one of those that like we look forward to doing it. We know what it is now, so it's just like, oh, it's cool.
And then you have the transition into having the whole month of October just be like full festival season here, because then you've got the Mum Feast that goes on, and then we've got the concerts that go on. We've got the Christmas in July concert series that go on, and the
then you do, go into
Footloose on the
Mary.
News. I mean, we've got all of these different things
Yeah.
that if this sip and stroll was to happen, then we'd also be able to just kind of transition them into our businesses again instead of just the festivals.
My name is Tyler Maximus III. TylerAeis. Maximus is MAXA. Maximus, more or less is. And yes.
And we, hold on, what did you say again? Sorry.
What do you do here?
I'm like trying not to say like so bad. It's like in my brain. Don't say like. All right.
So are these local artists or?
Yes.
They just
I hand painted them all myself.
Okay, thank you.